Hello my stamping friends, I have a project for you for the Summer Celebration Wonderful World tutorials. Today we are going to be doing some fun stamping with our stamp set. We're not actually going to be using the Designer Series paper for this one, but I did get my inspiration from this paper here with the rich mossy metal background and the beautiful pink roses on the front. So we're mimicking this idea on the card today. So I hope you enjoy it. So let me go ahead and put these away and you'll see my kit underneath. Okay, so I'm using a basic white card base today, and what I've done is I've trimmed it. So these are both like a front and a front. If I put this underneath, you'll see that the front has been trimmed down by an inch. So this is only 7.5, scored at 4 1/4, fold in half. So the front is shorter than the back. Okay? So that was on purpose, honest. Then I have a piece of mossy meadow, and what you're going to do with this piece is you're going to run it through your embossing folder. I'm using the Fern 3D folder, but you could use any folder you wanted to. I'm taking that piece of quarter cardstock, I embossed it, and then what I did was I cut off an inch down the edge. Okay, so this would fit right on the front of my card here. Okay, looks like I'm a little long. I'll just trim that when I'm done. And this one I'm going to put on the inside right on the edge. Easy peasy, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and trim my card a little bit. So sometimes when you cut cardstock in half, there's like a little bit longer side, a little bit shorter side. So you can see I've got a little bit of an edge there. So I'm just going to put that on my paper trimmer here, and I'm just going to take off like an 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch maybe. Just a little bit. And that's going to measure up better for me. Sometimes when you're going to lay your cards, you just need to give it a little trim. So that's going to work much better. Okay, so we can go ahead and put those panels on first. So I'm just going to use my liquid adhesive. Right? I'm going to put this on the back of this now textured cardstock. And then I'm going to put them on to my card base. So this is a fun way to use some textured cardstock through our embossing, but you're getting it on the inside and the outside of your card at the same time, which is really fun. It's very tactile when your people are opening up their cards, right? It's not just smooth, it's going to have this edge on the inside as well. I always think that's fun. So we'll just put that right down the edge. And because my card base is white, I don't have to put a liner in it. I'm going to be good to just go ahead and stamp when I get there. Okay, so there is our card base. Okay, kind of an adjusted card base with this piece trimmed off the base and then the two pieces of the patterned cardstock on the front and the inside. Okay, so from there, now the tutorial is going to tell you to cut 3 square, these are 1.5 by 1.5 square dies. I used the Stylish Shapes dies to do my 3 squares, but you might have a paper punch, you might just want to cut 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares, whatever you want to do to get your square shapes, that's fine. Okay, so now I've got my stamp of the rose. Remember I said I was using that green paper and the roses as my inspiration. So I've got my green rose, and I've got Flirty Flamingo and my Mossy Meadow, which is the color of my cardstock. So what I want to do is I'm going to color my stamp. So it's going to take a little time, but we're going to color our stamp. So I'm doing my leaves, one color. And now I'm using Flirty Flamingo, but you could use any color you wanted to. If you want red roses or yellow roses or purple roses, you go right ahead and do whatever color you want, because this is just ink. And it's only going to be your spot of color. So whatever color you want to use. Alright, so I've got that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp it kind of from the corner on one. Drop that off. Okay, and now I'm going to ink this up again. and my stem. Remember, after you color it, you want to huff it just to reactivate the first color you put on. Okay, so this one I'm going to come up kind of from a flat edge instead of the corner. Stamp that down. It's 2, and then the third one I'm going to come in from the other side. So I'm just going to do it one more time. And my stem. So I've got one going this way, I've got one going up and down, I want the other one coming in from this side. So I'm going to stamp it right like that. Okay, so now I've got 3 squares. So these squares are going to go on my card front like this. So kind of like a climbing rose idea, which is the idea from the paper. Okay, so there's my climbing rose. I'm going to adhere those down with my liquid adhesive, but I want to add another element. So what I'm going to tell you to do is to clean off your stamp using my chamois. Clean off my stamp a bit, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ink pad. Now my marker did just fine, but I like the way the ink pad does the blossom a little better. So I'm making up my ink, and now I really just need the blossom. Because what you're going to do is you're going to stamp the blossom. These are kind of like, I don't know if they say they're distinctive stamps, but the way they stamp, they kind of look like that, where you kind of get a lot of extra texture in the stamp. So you're going to stamp that, you're going to use your paper snips to trim them out, and now I've done that. I've gotten 3 already trimmed out. Okay, so what you're going to do is, first things first, we're going to put these squares down with our liquid adhesive, and then I bet you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use dimensionals and add those flowers that I've already die cut with my, sorry, not die cut, my fussy cut. I'm going to pop them up on dimensionals over the top of these. Alright, so there's one. Okay, so it's coming in this way. That one's going to go on the top. This one's the one that's kind of going straight up and down. And this one is coming in from the other side. It's kind of coming in from 3 different directions. Alright, just press those down just for a second. Okay, so now I am just going to add dimensionals to the back of my blooms. And then these are going to go right on the top of those stamped images. So this way you've got the flower image underneath, and then you're just going to marry these up over the top. Isn't that fun? Yeah? Okay, so now I've got the inside, right? I haven't added a sentiment yet. So like you know, I'm pairing these with the Celebrate You stamp set. This time I'm going to use the Happy Anniversary as my sentiment. So I've got that on my block. I'm actually going to square it up a little bit better. So there's my block. So I'm just going to ink this up, and I'm going to sit that in the center. Okay, so there's that. Now, something fun you can do if you don't have markers, but you still want this 2-stamp color stamp. Here's something else you can do. If you look at your stamp, it's kind of a very distinctive line between the ink and the stem. So if I put my ink down, I can just kind of rock my stem in the pink. See, my stem part is off the side, my blossom is on the ink. And then if I reverse it and go with the green, I can just ink up the stem just at the edge. Right? Now you can see I overstamped a little bit, so now I got to clean that off with my chamois. I don't want ink on my blossom, so clean that off with your chamois and then just go back in Add some pink there. Okay, so now I've got a 2 puffing it, and then I'm just going to put this under there. And now I've got my blossom on the inside. So if you want to be kind of daring, right? This is kind of a daring technique where you do the 2 ink pads. If you got the ink spots, a little 1x1 spots, if you have a bunch of paper pumpkins, you might have spots. You could do it a little more controlled. But that's another way to get the 2-tone stamp into your project. So I'm going to do it one more time on my card. So let's cross our fingers. So I'm going to do my green first. Tap, tap, tap. Oop, missed a little. Tap, tap, tap. Kind of look at it. And I'll use my chamois and clean off the part that's on the rose. Then I'm going to do the rose right on the edge, trying to keep that stem off and the rose on. And then I'm going to do this on my envelope. So it might take some practice. You might want to try that on your grid paper until you kind of feel like you're getting a good application of ink and you're controlling where it's going. So that's kind of fun, kind of the way the green fades into the pink. So there you go, guys. There's our newest project for you to enjoy. Oh, I almost forgot. Let's let our bling, right? You wouldn't have to, but you could. So I'm going to add these rhinestones. I think I'm just going to do the little ones. So I'm going to go 1. Oop. Take a pick tool here. That would have been maybe a smart idea. Okay, so I got my fingernails. Alright, there's that one. And I'm going to go the opposite corner down here, high-low, and then this one's in the middle. So maybe I'll go in the middle. There we go. Alright, so a little bit of bling with our iridescent rhinestones. Okay, just blends right in, picks up kind of that pink color, which is kind of fun. And there's our card. Alright, so like I said, this one you can do with any textured embossing folder. You can do it with any of your squared dies or punches, or just cut them out. And your flowers could be any colors you choose. So this one's really a free-for-all, guys. You don't have to stick with my color scheme. You can do any colors that you love to use. So have fun with it, enjoy the stamps, and have a great time doing your projects. See you again soon. Bye-bye.